I don't know if you're all aware of this, but recently there's been a haunting in Venice. Oh, it's kind of should be a bigger deal, right? Like a haunting in Venice. It's kind of like the third chapter in an overarching story about this detective's life. And I feel like that should be like a bigger deal for people because a haunting in Venice is a pretty big deal. It's not always a haunting in Venice. We don't always get a haunting in Venice, you know? Sometimes you just want a haunting in Venice. Hey, it's a haunting in Venice time, everybody. That's right. Kenneth Branagh is back as Hercule Poirot because he said, you know what? I like this guy. Agatha Christie's got some stuff in here I like to play with. I'm an old man now. This character's also becoming an old man now in the stories we're getting into. So I could do something and I could go off. Full disclosure, folks. This is my favorite of the bunch. Murder was fine. It's my least favorite. I think they've just been consecutively getting better. And Death on the Nile has some things in there that are very weird. It came out at a very bad time for that movie. And then with A Haunting in Venice, it definitely feels like, okay, cool. Like, I've been confident enough. They're still letting me make these. I guess 20th Century still letting Branagh attempt to do something with these. And this movie, I think more than the last two, really play like, I don't know if I'll get the chance to do these again. So I'm going to go really hard, but seemingly on a smaller scale. This movie's so beautiful. This movie is so amazing. It is just attacking you at all angles, just like you've never seen a big studio film like this in a very, very, very long time. Kenneth Branagh was allowed to cook, and what he cooked was one of the best looking films of the year. It's not my favorite film of the year. By no means is it my favorite film of the year. This is going to be like a weird analogy, but this is just like on Barbie and Oppenheimer level of like a studio letting a director make something that just has an impact of what it's doing behind the camera and on camera. It's not to the level of those films, but it's just like, this is like, Oppenheimer was from Universal, Barbie's from Warner Brothers. This is what I'd say is 20th Century's entry into that style where it's like, we have an auteur, they're allowed to do whatever they want, and what they made is this very specific piece that is so in tune to what it's talking about. Oh, man. A Haunting in Venice looks so great. It is so impressive. It is just a very cool movie. I'd hearken it to something like Nightmare Alley, which is not a movie I particularly loved from Guillermo del Toro, but it's like, it's all vibes, it's all the camera angles, it's all the movement. It's like this really dark gothic story that leaves you more uncomfortable than you should be. And that's a really cool vibe to give off. This movie's Dutch Angle City. We're doing a bunch of close-ups and shots where we're looking up at actors. We spend so much time in silence. We spend so much time with just cameras hanging on of walls and ceilings, looking down on our characters. It's all about making you feel uncomfortable in the scene. So much of the movie is just like on the third side of the screen where you're just like kind of like in the corner, kind of looking around at certain elements. The movements are so great. The way we set up a shot where it's like there's actors moving in the background, but the foreground's just like a broken chandelier. It's like this rotting pumpkin. Like there's so much of that that just gives it this mood and intensity that no other studio film has these days. Where it's like, no, we're actually just putting the camera down. Here's the shot. It's this table, and there's this thing on the table that we're looking at in the background. There's Kelly Riley, and next to her is like the small child, and Hercule's in like the other corner. It's like, it's so meticulous and so beautiful. And I was just on the edge of my seat watching a movie actually look like this. It's such this unique piece. Even in terms of like the other Branagh Hercule movies, it's so unique. Where, Murder's close quarters and Death on the Nile is a little more expansive. This one's in one location. We don't really leave the set, and everything's moving around in this intense feeling, and it's just, here's a static camera, it's not moving, actors are moving, or we'll do like a really cool like moving shot where we're like tracking characters in a room, almost like a POV shot. It is so experimental, so specific in its movements. I was blown away. Does it work every time? I don't think so. But the majority of the time where I'm like, oh man, look at us just watch this bird. The bird in the foreground. And you're just like, yes, that's really cool. Who else is doing that? That's the confidence of a filmmaker who's like, I'm just having fun. I get to dress up, wear a cool mustache, and just go on a crazy story. And what is the story? It's kind of like A Haunting in Venice. There's a seance that Hercule kind of gets invited to. and he's kind of there to like disprove what's actually going on. It leads to like a revelation that maybe there was like a murder involved in certain things, and then that leads you down a rabbit hole of like he's solving the murder, like a previous murder potentially, and a one that happens within the time frame of the movie that it's telling. Whodunits are always really interesting to see like play out. It's such a great genre for movies because it allows you to call back to things that have previously happened, and on like a rewatch you can understand like the specific dialogue beats that are important to pick up on. That's a really cool, impactful thing that this movie does really well. And this is just my vibe. It's Halloween. It's Hallows Eve, actually, I believe, because it's like the day before Halloween, and it's just like gothic, and everyone's coming to like this palatial estate, and they're coming through like these boats in costumes, and it's like this old house is just broken and disgusting, and then it's just like this intense feeling of nobody really liking each other. The place is haunted, ooh, and then everyone's just trying to disprove each other and then solve a murder. And it's just great. And then just from there, it's Branagh being like, I know how to frame this story. I know how to pace this story. He does it so well and effortlessly at every single turn. Now, I think there's an argument to make that this could be like someone's least favorite of his trilogy or his favorite. It's my favorite solely because I just like this aesthetic. I think when he is just given the chance to like play with like a specific aesthetic, he knows how to work that really well. And doing this kind of like gothic tragedy just really bodes well to his style, just playing with the themes of Halloween and hauntings and all that stuff. He gets to go off, and he does in such a beautiful way. My goodness, the shots are gorgeous. Everyone is acting really well, and they're all kind of playing like against type from what you're expecting. Branagh, of course, he knows what to do at this point. It's just second nature to him. And this one you could see he's trying to like play with the themes of like these men who are broken and can never like really find their closure, and there's like this tragedy that follows them around every corner. It's very much a somber affair about people who can never truly be happy again or never like return back to the land of the living in an essence, not just because of like the tragedies of war, but that's like an element of it, just also the tragedies that befall their lives. And that's so interesting. He does that so well. It's effortless to him. He can just walk in, command a scene like that, and it works so well. And just the idea, like, it's an old man who wants to retire, but we won't let him. It does it better than other movies this year that have done that. And then you got some surprising standouts. Tina Fey is kind of like, she's a writer who wants to, like, crack the case, and she is very much playing a character she plays a lot now. It's kind of her character in Only Murders in the Building. And it works. She's really good at that. It's a character, it's an actress, I should say. You're not expecting for this type of role or this type of movie, but she knows how to make that work, and she does a really good job of portraying that. And you buy like the chemistry between them, so that's really cool. Jamie Dornan playing very much against type, doing some impressive work there, stuff you're not expecting from him. Kelly Riley, she gets what she's doing too, and Michelle Yeoh, of course, she's essentially doing the Jamie Lee Curtis from Haunted Mansion. And I'm here for it. Like, it's such a cool thing that she gets to do. It's so nice that we're reaching like the spookiest time of year, and we're actually having something that feels like decrepit and sorrowful and has these emotions that are playing, where you're not walking away smiling like this was a case well solved and everything. You just feel bad for everybody involved. It makes the audience think and feel something like, yeah, sometimes you're going to be haunted by your past. You have to overcome that to truly be yourself again. And that's like a really interesting theme to play with. Well, it's giving some of the best visual and most intrinsic shots that you've seen in a movie this year. I can't find another movie to like compare it to that came out recently that has the same like shot setup where we place the camera, what's in foreground, what's in the background, the Dutch angles and all that. Because we're not doing this. We're afraid to do this. But Branagh said, I might not get to do another one of these, you know? This one's not tracking very well. The first one, a smash success for some reason. The second one, a pandemic and weird actor stuff. Even more weird actor stuff now. And this one, A Haunting in Venice. I guess the tides are just turning for this type of movie. But if this is the last one we can squeeze out of this genre, an actual like whodunit in a gothic place that's tragic and looks like a piece of art on every single page, I'm here for it. I'm glad we got this done. If this is his swan song to the Hercule Poirot character, there's worse ways to go out. You know, a mid-budget movie that takes itself seriously and just has an atmosphere throughout the entire 2 hours. We don't get that anymore. So Kenneth Branagh trying to bring that back. I'll support it no matter what he does. It's a really well-made movie. And if you need something to watch, if you don't want to see, Dumb Money that comes out next week, this might be the one to see. Because it's really atmospheric. And you'll walk away satisfied. So, A Haunting in Venice, if you could imagine such a thing occurring, I'm going to give an 8 out of 10. Now, thank you all for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And as always, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.